When you first heard the Candace Owens story, be honest, didn't you think, okay, this will last a couple of days, maybe a week or so? I mean, what's the story? And I don't mean the Brigitte Macron thing. I mean, what's going on with her? And this Ben Shapiro, look, the guy's a creep. Everybody knew this. But didn't you think to yourself, okay, there's a lot of creeps out there. Did you ever think it would get like this? This is what it looks like when a powerful woman by the name of Candace Owens refuses to be erased and bullied by twits and horrible people, and the people, by the way, who once claimed to be championing free speech. And she reveals just how conditional that principle really was. Because what is unfolded between Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro is not a professional disagreement or a routine corporate split. And by the way, Ben could have it might be a big mistake. Candace may be completely wrong. Do you think so? Maybe it's a fixation on his part, so obsessive, so punitive, so sick, so demented that it crosses from business dispute into something far darker and more revealing about who actually believes in liberty and who merely kind of, so to speak, rents the language and pretends to abide by it. Let me tell you something. It's unbelievable. They only seem to talk about the truth and everything when it's convenient, and because normal, you know this, normal employers fire you and move on. Normal companies part ways and refocus, and you sign an NDA or some kind of a non-disparagement and have a nice day. But this is not that. This is a former boss who cannot tolerate independence and is fixated like a stalker, like the ex-girlfriend lunatic. Somebody who can't tolerate dissent and can't tolerate the sight of a woman thriving, especially this woman. And she is thriving at levels nobody even saw. And Ben's bouncing around. And people know it. People don't know. Well, Ben doesn't know. It's over. Let me tell you something. And she's thriving and burgeoning and exploding outside his control. So instead of letting, go, he lingers and surveils and relaunches and stalks and walks and brings up old intellectual property like a jilted ex, like this lonely hearts loser, like this psychopath. Rereading private texts, resurrecting defunct channels to siphon attention, to basically say, hey, just watch us. You like Candace? Well, watch it. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, he allegedly greenlighting content designed not to build ideas, but to mock and undermine the very person who outgrew them and now steps on them and then wraps all of it in some sanctimonious language about principles or whatever it is while behaving in a way that would be, I guess, wouldn't be recognized by anybody with life experiences as unhealthy. It's destabilizing. It's weird. Because this is not confidence, I should say. This is something else. This is insecurity. This is insecurity with resources. This is not strength. This is resentment with a big payroll. And the most dangerous people in public life are not the loud radicals, but the brittle, little weak, imprisoned authoritarians who believe they're entitled to manage the voices of others. How dare you get bigger than us? And how dare you not clear your speech through us? Especially women who refuse to submit. And Candace Owens has become the living proof that speech is only protected until it challenges the wrong gatekeeper. Because she didn't ask permission to ask questions. She didn't dilute or watch her views to remain palatable. She didn't seek permission. She didn't accept the unspoken rule that once you're employed by the conservative industrial complex, your role is to amplify them and to amplify approved talking points only, and never disrupt the donor class or the narrative choreography. She chose instead to speak freely and to question publicly and to follow her curiosity whenever it led, even when that meant discomfort. And they kicked her out, and now they want her back, or what? I don't even know. She faced the backlash, the exile, and for that, she was not merely fired, but she was pursued and shadowed and publicly disparaged, and now seemingly targeted with this bizarre campaign that feels less like criticism and more like punishment punishment masquerading as some kind of content. And anyone pretending this is normal behavior is either lying or afraid. Because there is nothing healthy about a media empire that cannot stop talking about one woman who left. There is nothing principled about a company that claims to support debate and free speech while mobilizing interns and intellectual property to mock and subject to dispute and impugn the integrity of this woman rather than engage. And there is nothing conservative about a movement that eats most of its independent thinkers the moment they stop taking orders, which is why Candace Owens now stands as something larger and bigger and more inane than a commentator. She's become a stress test for free expression, and she's bigger than ever. People wait every day to hear what she's going to say, because she is proof that the real threat to speech doesn't always come from the left or from government or from the shadow government or the deep state or censorship boards. It comes from private power that smiles while it controls, that praises liberty while enforcing obedience, that tells you it believes in free markets of ideas while quietly punishing anybody who dares to compete too well and too effectively. And the contrast couldn't be clearer. Candace builds, speaks, questions, and moves forward while her former boss circles, reacts, revisits like this effeminate, just this catty, harpy, shrew-like behavior, which is so unmasculine. Stuck in the past, unable to accept the fact that control, once lost, cannot be reclaimed through mockery or intimidation. And the irony is brutal, because the very behavior meant to diminish her has only elevated her. Every attempt to swat her down, to kick her down, only proves her central point that speech is fragile when it threatens entrenched, implicit, little spineless twits like these people. And that independence is intolerable to them. Those who believe they own the microphone, they own everything, they own the camera, they own the platform, they are the ones. And that the most revealing moments in politics are not when people talk about freedom, but when they're confronted with someone who actually practices it. And that is why Candace Owens has emerged not as a victim, but as a dare I say, a beard queen of free speech, unbowed, unowned, unapologetic, because she didn't ask to be canonized. She simply refused to kneel. And in doing so, she exposed a truth many suspected, but few wanted to say out loud, that the loudest defenders of liberty often panic when liberty is exercised without their approval, that the line between commentary and control is thinner than advertised, and that the most unsettling thing you can do to a brittle system is walk away and thrive and become the biggest thing around. Because nothing drives a controlling personality like Ben Shapiro more mad and makes him more angry than the sight of someone living freely, doing better than he ever did or could, beyond their reach. And what we are watching right now is not a debate, but a breakdown of restraint, a public unraveling disguised as programming. A cautionary tale, my friends, about power that can't let go. And a reminder, a reminder that real free speech has always been messy and greasy and dirty and disruptive and threatening to people who prefer order over truth, silence over expression. And that is why Candace Owens keeps winning without trying, because she's not fighting for permission. She's not asking for the ability to speak. She's exercising a right. And the more her former boss fixates and reacts and escalates, the clearer it becomes that this was never about ideas. It was about ownership, obedience, and control. And history has never been kind to those who confuse authority with virtue or management with morality. Because, my friend, remember, moments like this, they do not survive by silencing their most independent and talented voices. They survive by withstanding them. And right now, only one side of this story looks strong and confident and brave and brilliant and free and American. And it is not the side relaunching Ghosts from 2021 to chase a woman who already left the building. If you had told me a couple of months ago that it would devolve into this, if you had told me that we would get to the position where it would be this bad, this awful, this terrible, I'd say no way. I always knew that, and I don't know Ben Shapiro, I don't know him, but I always knew that there was something artificial, there was something synthetic, there was something not real about the way he acted. There was something about him that I never bought, that you never bought. And eventually it was shown through. He just can't do it. It's over, and it's killing him. People are like, oh, nobody ever says, hey, the Ben Shapiro show is on. How many people watching right now wait for Candace to speak? It's like appointment TV, even though you could watch it anytime, but they want to be there live. Oh, I think you know what this is about. My friend, I thank you. Thank you so much for your following us at Lionel Nation. Thank you for also following Lynn's Warriors, my beloved, trying to protect kids. We're very simple. We're very meat and potatoes here. We're about truth, justice, the American way, and to protecting those people who need our help. I've got some questions for you to figure out, to weigh in on. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and please comment as you see fit.